Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Horizon and looked at the planet below. Kepler 442b was a dead world now, but the scans showed something that made his heart race. There were ruins down there, big ones. "Amy, what do you see?" Jake asked his science officer. Dr. Amy Chen bent over her instruments and frowned. "The structures are old, Captain. Really old. Maybe 3,000 years or more. But they are not natural. Someone built these things," Jake nodded. "This was why they were out here in the dark between stars. Humanity was still new to space travel, only 200 years since they left Earth. Every old ruin they found taught them more about the galaxy and the races that came before them. Ben, can you get us down there safely?" Jake asked his engineer. Ben Rodriguez checked his controls. "The atmosphere is thin but breathable. Landing should be easy. But Captain, I am reading some strange energy patterns from those ruins." "What kind of patterns?" "I do not know. They are like nothing in our database." Jake made his choice. "Lisa, send word back to Earth Command. Tell them we found something big. Then prep the landing shuttle." Lisa Park, their communications officer, began typing her message. "How big should I tell them it is, Captain?" Jake looked at the ruins again. They covered an area larger than most human cities. "Tell them it might change everything we know about this part of the galaxy." 2 hours later, their shuttle touched down near the largest structure. The team stepped out onto the dusty surface and looked up at walls that rose hundreds of feet into the sky. The building material was black and smooth like glass, but stronger. "The air is safe," Amy said, checking her scanner. "Oxygen levels are low, but we can breathe without suits." They walked toward the main entrance. The doorway was huge, built for beings much taller than humans. Strange symbols covered the walls around the entrance. "Can you read any of this?" Jake asked Amy. "Give me time." "But Captain, look at this." Amy pointed her scanner at the symbols. "These are not just decorations. They are some kind of data storage, like a computer built into the walls." Ben examined the entrance itself. "No power source I can find, but something is keeping these symbols active. After 3,000 years, that should be impossible." They entered the building and found themselves in a vast hall. The ceiling disappeared into darkness above them. More symbols covered every surface, glowing with a faint blue light. Lisa set up her equipment to record everything. "This place gives me chills. It feels like someone is watching us." "Stay close together," Jake ordered. "Amy, can you get anything from these symbols?" Amy connected her translation computer to the wall. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the symbols began to pulse faster. "I think it is trying to communicate with us," Amy said. "The patterns are changing. It is like the wall is learning our language." Suddenly, images appeared in the air above them. They showed ships flying between stars, planets covered with cities, and beings that looked like tall, thin humans with pale skin and large eyes. "The Kythera," Amy whispered. "We found records of them in the archives on Proxima Station. They ruled this part of the galaxy thousands of years ago." The images continued. They showed the Kythera building great fleets and conquering planet after planet. But then something changed. The images showed a new ship appearing in their space. It was massive and completely black. No lights, no markings, nothing to identify it. "What is that thing?" Ben asked. "I do not know," Amy replied. "But look how the Kythera react to it." The images showed Kythera fleets surrounding the black ship. They fired every weapon they had, but nothing touched it. The ship just hung in space like it was not even there. "It is like their weapons pass right through it," Lisa said. More images flowed past them. The black ship appeared in system after system. Always the same. It would arrive, stay for a while, then disappear. But wherever it went, the Kythera stopped their conquests. "This is important," Amy said. "According to these records, the Kythera were destroying younger races. Planets full of beings who had just discovered space travel. They called it cleansing the galaxy." "What happened to stop them?" Jake asked. The images showed the answer. After the black ship appeared for the 10th time, the Kythera began fighting among themselves. Their empire broke apart. Within 100 years, they were gone. The ship did not attack them, Amy realized. It just watched. But somehow its presence made them destroy themselves. Ben was studying his scanner. "Captain, I am picking up something strange. The energy readings I detected from orbit are getting stronger." The symbols on the walls began pulsing faster. New images appeared, but these were different. They showed the galaxy as it was now. Human colonies, alien trading posts, and in the center of it all, the same black ship. "It is still out there," Lisa whispered. The images showed recent events. Human settlements being attacked by a race called the Zephyrian Collective. Ships destroyed, colonies burned, millions dead. How does this ancient system know about current events? Jake asked. Amy checked her instruments. Captain, this is not just a recording. This system is connected to something that is watching the galaxy right now. The final image made them all freeze. It showed the black ship moving through space, heading toward human territory. But this time it was not just watching. It was coming to act. We need to get this information back to Earth, Jake said. If that thing is real, if it is coming our way, humanity needs to know. As they prepared to leave, Amy made one more discovery. Captain, look at this. The final entries in the database. They mentioned something called the Void Reaper. That must be the name of the black ship. The Void Reaper, Jake repeated. What else does it say? That the ship appears when advanced races try to wipe out younger ones. It has been doing this for thousands of years, maybe longer. They gathered their equipment and headed back to the shuttle. As they walked, Lisa asked the question they were all thinking. If this Void Reaper is coming to protect us, why does that scare me more than the aliens trying to kill us? Jake did not have an answer. But as they lifted off from the dead planet, he could not shake the feeling that they had just discovered something that would change humanity forever. The galaxy had a guardian, and it was coming whether they wanted it or not. Back on the horizon, they sent their report to Earth Command and set course for home. But none of them could forget the images they had seen. Somewhere in the dark between stars, the galaxy's most feared legend was moving toward human space, and no one knew what it would do when it arrived. 3 weeks after returning from Kepler 442b, Dr. Amy Chen sat in her lab aboard the space station orbiting Earth. The data from the alien ruins covered every screen around her. She had been working day and night trying to understand what they had found. Computer, show me the timeline again, she said. The holographic display showed a map of the galaxy spanning 3,000 years. Red dots marked where the Void Reaper had appeared. Blue dots showed where advanced civilizations had been wiping out younger races. Amy leaned back in her chair and rubbed her tired eyes. The pattern was clear now, and it terrified her. Every time a powerful race decided to eliminate weaker ones, the Void Reaper appeared. It never attacked directly. It just watched, but within a few years, the genocidal race always destroyed itself. Wars, civil conflicts, technological disasters. The methods were different, but the result was always the same. Dr. Chen to Captain Morrison, she said into her communicator. Jake's voice came back immediately. What have you found, Amy? You need to see this. Can you come to my lab? 10 minutes later, Jake arrived with Ben and Lisa. They all looked as tired as Amy felt. The discovery on Kepler 442b had kept them all working around the clock. Show us what you have, Jake said. Amy activated the holographic display. I have been studying 17 different incidents over the past 3,000 years. Each time the pattern is the same. An advanced civilization starts killing off younger species. The Void Reaper appears. Then the killers destroy themselves. How? Ben asked. Different ways each time. The Cathara started a civil war over resources. The Milani Empire had a technological accident that poisoned their homeworlds. The Vorthan hegemony split into factions that fought until none were left. Lisa studied the timeline. That is a lot of dead civilizations. 37 advanced races in 3,000 years, Amy confirmed. All of them were eliminated after the Void Reaper appeared in their space. Jake frowned. But we do not know that the ship caused these disasters. Maybe it just watches civilizations that are already unstable. Maybe, Amy said. But there is something else. Look at this. She changed the display to show current galactic politics. 6 months ago, the Zephyrian Collective announced something called the Great Cleansing. They claim younger races are a threat to galactic order and must be eliminated. We know about that, Ben said. They have already hit 12 human colonies. And 17 colonies belonging to other young races, Amy added. But here's what worries me. 3 days ago, long-range sensors detected an energy signature matching the Void Reaper. It appeared in the Zephyrian home system. The room went quiet. They all understood what that meant. How long before it gets here? Jake asked. Unknown. The Void Reaper moves faster than any known ship. It could be here tomorrow or next year. Lisa's communicator beeped with an incoming message. She read it and her face went pale. Captain, we are getting reports from the frontier. The Zephyrian attack on New Austin Colony was stopped by an unknown ship. Survivors say it was massive and black. Amy felt her heart racing. It has already started moving toward human space. Over the next few days, more reports came in. The Void Reaper had appeared at 3 different battle sites, where Zephyrian forces were attacking human settlements. Each time, the alien attackers retreated immediately. They did not even try to fight, but the mysterious ship did not pursue them. It just watched until the Zephyrians left, then disappeared again. Why do they run? Ben wondered. The Zephyrians have the most powerful fleet in this part of the galaxy. Amy had been studying intercepted Zephyrian communications. Because they know what it is. Listen to this. She played a translated message from a Zephyrian commander. The Void Reaper has returned. All forces are ordered to withdraw from human space immediately. Do not engage. Do not approach. The ancient terror walks among the stars again. Ancient terror? Jake repeated. The Zephyrians have been spacefaring for 2,000 years, Amy explained. They remember the old stories. Their ancestors saw what happened to the Kithra and the others. Lisa looked up from her station. Captain, I am receiving a priority message from Earth Command. Put it through. Admiral Kate Williams appeared on the screen. She looked worried. Captain Morrison, we need your team back on Earth immediately. The situation with the Zephyrians has changed. How so, Admiral? They have stopped attacking our colonies, but they are massing their entire fleet in the Centauri system. Intelligence suggests they are preparing for something big. Amy stepped forward. Admiral, we need to tell you about our discoveries. The Void Reaper is not just a legend. It is real and it is coming. The what? Jake quickly explained what they had learned from the alien ruins. When he finished, Admiral Williams was quiet for a long moment. You are telling me there is an ancient ship out there that destroys civilizations? Not directly, Amy corrected. It appears when advanced races start genocide campaigns. Then those races destroy themselves. We think it is some kind of ancient peacekeeping system. And it is heading for Earth? We believe so. The Zephyrians are terrified of it. That is why they stopped their attacks. Admiral Williams nodded slowly. Get back here as soon as possible. If this thing is coming, we need to be ready. As the Horizon made its way back to Earth, the crew monitored communications from across human space. The reports were getting stranger by the day. Zephyrian forces had completely withdrawn from human territory. But instead of celebrating, human commanders were worried. The aliens had never retreated like this before. It does not make sense, Ben said. They were winning. Why stop now? Amy had been thinking about the same question. Because they know what is coming. The Void Reaper has protected younger races for thousands of years, but no one knows what it wants in return. Lisa intercepted another message, this one from a Zephyrian science vessel. Captain, you need to hear this. The translation was broken, but the fear was clear. The Dark One moves between stars. It comes for those who spill innocent blood. Our weapons are nothing. Our shields are nothing. Only silence and retreat can save us now. They are running from something they cannot fight, Jake realized. But what happens when it gets to Earth? Amy did not have an answer. The historical records showed that the Void Reaper always appeared to protect younger races. But they also showed that it never communicated with anyone. It simply watched, and somehow the guilty parties always ended up destroying themselves. What if we are not innocent enough? Lisa asked quietly. It was a question none of them wanted to think about. Humanity had its own dark history. Wars, slavery, environmental destruction. What would an ancient judge think of their species? As Earth grew larger on their screen, Jake made a decision. Whatever this thing is, whatever it wants, we will face it as humans. We will not run like the Zephyrians. But privately, he wondered if courage would be enough. The galaxy's most feared legend was coming to Earth, and no one knew if humanity would survive the encounter. In the depths of space, something vast and dark moved between the stars. It had watched the galaxy for millennia, waiting for the right moment to act. The young species called humans were facing extinction, just as so many others had before. It was time to intervene once again. The alarm started screaming at 0347 hours, Earth Standard Time. Every sensor array in the solar system detected the same thing at once. Something massive had just appeared between Earth and Mars. Admiral Kate Williams rushed to the command center as reports flooded in from every station. What do we have? Unknown vessel, Admiral. It just materialized out of nowhere. No jump signature, no energy buildup. It was just suddenly there. Size? The sensor operator checked his readings twice before answering. 12 kilometers long, Admiral. 3 kilometers wide. Mass readings are off the charts. Williams felt her blood turn cold. She had read Captain Morrison's report. Is it black? Yes, Admiral. No lights, no markings, no energy emissions we can detect. It is just sitting there. The Void Reaper, Williams whispered. Within hours, panic spread across Earth. The massive black ship hung in space like a dark moon, visible to anyone with a telescope. News networks showed the same image over and over. A vessel so large it blocked out stars. Every human fleet in the system moved to intercept positions, but Admiral Williams held them back. If the reports from the alien ruins were true, weapons would be useless anyway. Any response to our communications? She asked. Nothing, Admiral. We have tried every frequency, every language in our database. It is completely silent. The Horizon arrived at Earth just as the global panic reached its peak. Captain Jake Morrison and his team were rushed directly to the command center. What can you tell us about this thing? Williams asked without any greeting. Amy Chen looked at the sensor readings and nodded grimly. It matches the descriptions from the alien ruins perfectly. 12 kilometers long, completely black, no detectable weapons or shields. But it has weapons, right? It must have something that scared the Zephyrians so badly. We do not think so, Amy replied. The historical records suggest it does not need weapons. It just watches. And somehow the guilty parties destroy themselves. Ben Rodriguez was studying the energy readings from the massive ship. Something about them looked familiar, but he could not place what it was. Admiral, permission to run some additional scans? He asked. Granted. Anything that might help us understand what we are dealing with. Ben connected his equipment to the main sensor array and began running deep scans of the Void Reaper. What he found made no sense at first. Captain Morrison, look at this, Ben said. The ship is not just powered by some exotic energy source. These readings show biological neural activity. What does that mean? Williams asked. It means there are living brains inside that ship. Lots of them. The energy patterns match human neural activity. Amy looked at the data in disbelief. That is impossible. Humans have only been in space for 200 years. This ship is thousands of years old. Maybe, Ben said. But I'm reading human brain patterns. I would stake my career on it. Jake studied the readings and felt something strange. The patterns looked familiar somehow, like an echo of something he had experienced before. Admiral, I need to get closer to that ship, he said. Absolutely not. We are not risking anyone until we know what it wants. It has been sitting there for 12 hours without doing anything. If it wanted to destroy us, would it not have done it already? Williams considered this. What are you thinking, Captain? The neural patterns Ben detected. If they are human, maybe the ship will respond to human contact. Direct contact. Too dangerous. Jake looked at the massive ship on the screen. Something about it called to him in a way he could not explain. Admiral, every ship we have sent to scan it has been ignored. Every communication attempt has been ignored. But what if it is waiting for something specific? Like what? Like a human to get close enough to make real contact. Amy supported Jake's idea. The historical records show that the Void Reaper never communicated with the races it was protecting. Maybe that is because they were not the right species to understand it. After an hour of debate, Admiral Williams made her decision. Captain Morrison, you can take a single shuttle. No weapons, minimal crew. If that thing shows any hostile intent, you retreat immediately. Jake chose a small personnel shuttle and prepared to go alone, but Ben and Lisa insisted on coming with him. If you're going to make first contact with the galaxy's most feared ship, you should not do it alone, Lisa said. As their shuttle left the Earth fleet and approached the Void Reaper, Jake felt that strange familiarity growing stronger. The massive black hull filled their view, but instead of fear, he felt something like recognition. Captain, I'm reading energy buildups all along the ship's hull, Ben reported. But they are not weapons. It is like the ship is waking up. Any communications? Nothing on standard frequencies. But Captain, those neural patterns are getting stronger. It is like the ship knows we are here. They drew closer to the massive vessel. Up close it was even more impressive. The hull was perfectly smooth, like black glass that reflected no light. There were no visible engines, no weapon ports, nothing that looked like normal ship technology. Where do we dock? Lisa asked. I do not see any docking bays, Ben replied. It is like this thing was never designed for visitors. Jake felt drawn to a specific section of the hull. Take us to that area there. Something about it feels right. As they approached the section Jake indicated, the hull began to change. A doorway opened where none had existed before, revealing a hangar bay inside. Well, that answers that question, Ben said nervously. Should we go in? Lisa asked. Jake did not hesitate. Yes, take us in. The shuttle passed through the opening and found itself in a vast hangar bay. The walls glowed with the same faint blue light they had seen in the alien ruins. As soon as they landed, the hangar bay sealed itself. Atmosphere is breathable, Ben reported. Same as the ruins on Kepler 442b. They left the shuttle and looked around the hangar. It was empty except for their small craft, but Jake could feel something watching them. The neural patterns Ben had detected were stronger here. Almost like voices at the edge of hearing. Captain, look at this, Lisa called out. The walls around them were covered with symbols similar to those in the alien ruins, but these were different somehow. More complex, more alive. As Jake approached the symbols, they began to pulse faster. Images appeared in the air, but these were not historical records. They showed Jake himself, his crew, their discovery of the ruins, their journey back to Earth. It knows who we are, Amy whispered over the communicator from the shuttle. The images changed, showing scenes Jake did not recognize. Earth in flames, human colonies destroyed, his own people fleeing in terror. But then the scenes changed again, showing Earth protected. Humanity thriving among the stars. It is showing us possible futures, Jake realized. The symbols pulsed brighter, and Jake felt a presence in his mind. Not intrusive, but familiar, like meeting an old friend he had forgotten. In that moment, Jake understood. The neural patterns Ben had detected were not just similar to human brains. They were human brains. Somehow this ancient ship contained the consciousness of humans from long ago. Without thinking, Jake spoke a single word that came to him from somewhere deep in his memory. Brother. The moment he said it, everything changed. The ship came alive around them. Lights blazed along the walls, and the symbols rearranged themselves into patterns Jake could almost understand. A voice spoke in his mind, warm and familiar. We have waited so long for you to find us. Jake felt tears in his eyes without knowing why. Who are you? We are what humanity became in a timeline that no longer exists. We are your brothers and sisters from a world that was lost, and we have been protecting the family we found in this reality. The ship's systems fully activated for the first time in centuries. Across the galaxy, sensors detected the energy surge as the Void Reaper revealed its true power. On Earth, Admiral Williams watched in amazement as the massive ship transformed from a dark threat into something that felt protective. Captain Morrison, report, she called over the radio. Jake's voice came back, filled with wonder. Admiral, we are not alone. We have never been alone. Jake Morrison found himself standing in a corridor that had not existed moments before. The walls around him pulsed with soft blue light, and he could feel the massive ship responding to his presence. Behind him, Ben and Lisa followed closely, their eyes wide with amazement. Captain, where are we going? Lisa asked. I do not know, Jake replied honestly, but I think the ship is guiding us somewhere. The corridor led them deeper into the Void Reaper. As they walked, Jake noticed that the walls were not made of metal or any material he recognized. They seemed organic somehow, like they were part of a living thing. The neural patterns are everywhere, Ben said, scanning with his equipment. This entire ship is one massive brain. They reached a circular chamber at what felt like the heart of the ship. In the center stood a holographic figure that looked human but somehow more. The figure was tall and lean, with kind eyes and a face that seemed familiar. Welcome aboard the Void Reaper, the figure said. I am Nathan, and I have been waiting a very long time to meet you. Jake stepped forward. You are human. I was human, yes. Now I am something more. I am the combined consciousness of the last survivors of humanity, from a timeline that no longer exists. Lisa looked confused. What do you mean, a timeline that no longer exists? Nathan gestured, and the chamber around them changed. They found themselves standing on what looked like Earth, but an Earth covered in cities that stretched to the horizon. The sky was filled with ships, and Jake could see people walking among gardens that floated in the air. This was our Earth, Nathan explained. 3,000 years ago, in a reality parallel to yours. We had achieved everything humanity dreamed of. Peace, prosperity, harmony with our world. The scene changed, showing massive ships arriving from space. But then they came. A race called the Devourers. They consumed everything in their path. Planets, stars, entire civilizations. Jake watched in horror as the beautiful world was torn apart. What happened to your people? We fought. We built weapons that could crack planets and shields that could protect solar systems. But it was not enough. In the end, only a few thousand of us remained. The images showed the last humans working desperately on a massive construction project. We used our remaining time to build this ship, not as a weapon but as a guardian. We uploaded our consciousness into its systems and gave it a mission. What mission? Ben asked. To find parallel realities where humanity survived and protect them from the same fate that befell us. Nathan led them through more chambers as he explained. Each room showed different technologies beyond anything Jake had seen. We discovered that reality branches in infinite directions. In some timelines, humanity never left Earth. In others, they became conquerors worse than the aliens they faced. But in a few precious realities, they became something wonderful. Like ours? Jake asked. Like yours? We have been watching your timeline for 3,000 years, waiting for the right moment to reveal ourselves. They entered a new chamber filled with displays showing events from across the galaxy. Jake recognized some of the scenes from the alien ruins on Kepler 442b. You have been stopping genocide campaigns, Jake realized. Yes. We learned that advanced civilizations often go through a phase where they try to eliminate younger races. It happened to us before the Devourers came. We became afraid of potential threats and considered destroying primitive worlds. Nathan showed them images of dozens of different alien races. The Kythera, the Milani, the Vorthan hegemony. All of them reached the same point in their development. Fear of the young led them to choose genocide. But you did not destroy them directly, Lisa observed. No. That would make us no better than the Devourers. Instead, we simply appeared and watched. Our presence reminded them of the consequences of their choices. Most species, when confronted with their own evil, destroy themselves through guilt and internal conflict. Ben was studying the technical displays around them. How does that work exactly? Guilt is a powerful force. When a civilization sees itself reflected in an ancient mirror, it cannot bear what it has become. The Kythera started civil wars. The Milani sabotaged their own technology. The Vorthan split into factions that fought until none remained. Jake thought about the current situation, and now the Zephyrians are doing the same thing. Yes, the Great Cleansing triggered our protective protocols. But this time is different. How? Nathan's expression grew serious. Because this time the species being threatened is human. You are our family, our brothers and sisters from another reality. We will not simply watch and hope the Zephyrians destroy themselves. The chamber changed again, showing Jake the current state of the galaxy. Zephyrian fleets were massing near their home worlds, but they seemed paralyzed with fear. They remember the old stories, Nathan explained. Their ancestors saw what happened to other species that encountered us. They know we are here and they know what it means. Will they attack Earth? Jake asked. They are debating it. Some of their leaders want to withdraw from all human space and forget the Great Cleansing ever happened. Others believe they have gone too far to turn back. Jake studied the displays showing Zephyrian fleet movements. What will you do if they attack? Nathan was quiet for a moment. That depends on you. On me. You are the first human from this timeline to set foot on our ship. The first to speak the word that awakened our full systems. In a sense, you are now our link to this reality. The weight of responsibility settled on Jake's shoulders. What are you asking me? To help us decide how to protect your people? We could destroy the Zephyrian fleet easily. Our technology is far beyond theirs. But doing so would solve your immediate problem while creating a larger one. What kind of larger problem? Nathan showed him images of human fleets armed with technology from the Void Reaper. If we simply eliminate your enemies, humanity becomes dependent on us. You would be safe, but you would never grow strong enough to face the real threats that are coming. What real threats? The display changed to show regions of space Jake did not recognize. The Devourers are still out there consuming timelines one by one. Eventually, they will find this reality too. When that happens, humanity must be strong enough to fight back. Jake understood. You want us to earn our place in the galaxy. Yes. Just as our timeline's humanity earned theirs, before the Devourers came. Ben had been listening to everything with growing amazement. So you have been protecting multiple timelines? 17 different realities where humanity survived their early spacefaring years. This timeline has shown the most promise. Your people have the courage and ingenuity to become something special. Jake thought about Earth. about all the human colonies spread across space, about the families and children who were depending on decisions made in this chamber. What are our options? Nathan gestured, and the chamber filled with different scenarios. We can destroy the Zephyrian threat completely, but that would make your people dependent on ancient technology. We can do nothing and let you face them alone, but your current technology is not advanced enough to win, or we can provide limited assistance just enough to level the playing field. The third option? Yes, we share some of our defensive technology with your fleets. Nothing that would make you dependent on us, but enough to match Zephyrian capabilities. Then humanity proves its worth through courage and intelligence rather than superior firepower. Jake looked at his crewmates. Ben was nodding slowly, and Lisa looked determined. What do you think? Jake asked them. I think we have to earn our place out here, Ben replied. If someone just hands us safety, we will never grow strong enough to keep it. Lisa agreed. My grandmother always said that anything worth having is worth fighting for. If we let someone else fight our battles, we will never be ready for the next one. Jake turned back to Nathan. What happens to you after this? We continue our mission. There are other timelines to protect, other versions of humanity that need guidance, but we will maintain contact with this reality. You have proven yourselves worthy of joining the larger family. Nathan extended his hand and Jake shook it. The moment their hands touched, Jake felt a surge of knowledge flow into his mind. Technical specifications, star charts, and most importantly, the coordinates of other human timelines. You are no longer alone in the universe, Nathan said. You are part of something larger than any single reality. As Jake and his crew prepared to return to their shuttle, Nathan had one final message. Tell your people that they have guardians watching over them. And tell them that their greatest strength has always been their humanity itself. The hangar bay opened, and their shuttle emerged into normal space. But Jake carried with him knowledge that would change everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the briefing room aboard Earth's command station, facing the most important decision in human history. Around the table sat Admiral Williams, Fleet Commander Ryan Brooks, and the leaders of every human colony in space. The data from the Void Reaper filled the screens around them. Let me understand this correctly, Admiral Williams said. This ancient ship is offering us 3 choices. They destroy the Zephyrians for us, they do nothing and let us fight alone, or they give us just enough help to match enemy capabilities. That is correct, Jake replied. Nathan was very clear about the consequences of each choice. Fleet Commander Brooks leaned forward. If they can eliminate the threat completely, why would we choose anything else? The Zephyrian fleet outnumbers us 10-1. Dr. Amy Chen, who had been studying the technical data from the Void Reaper, looked up from her screen. Because then we become children who need protection forever. The next threat that comes along will find us just as helpless as we are now. Ben Rodriguez nodded in agreement. The technology they are offering is defensive only. Improved shields, better armor, faster engines. Nothing that would make us dependent on them for weapons or tactics. Lisa Park spoke up from her position at the communications console. Admiral, I have been monitoring Zephyrian transmissions. They are split into 2 factions. Half their fleet wants to withdraw from human space completely. The other half believes they have gone too far to turn back. What does that mean for us? Williams asked. It means they are afraid but desperate. That makes them dangerous. Jake looked around the room at faces filled with worry and determination. The choice comes down to this. Do we want to be protected or do we want to be strong? Admiral Williams was quiet for several minutes considering the options. Finally, she spoke. Captain Morrison, send a message to your contact on the Void Reaper. Tell them we choose to earn our place in the galaxy. 2 days later, human fleets across the solar system began receiving upgrades from small shuttles that appeared from the Void Reaper. The technology was exactly as Nathan had promised. Defensive systems that would level the playing field without making humanity dependent on alien technology. Chief Engineer Rodriguez supervised the installation aboard the flagship, Earth's Pride. These shield generators are incredible, he reported to Admiral Williams. They will absorb 3 times more damage than our current systems, but the underlying principles are based on human science. We can maintain and improve them ourselves. Similar reports came in from across the fleet. The armor plating was stronger but used materials humans could manufacture. The engines were faster but based on fusion technology humanity already understood. They kept their promise, Williams observed. This is help, not replacement. Meanwhile, Jake Morrison had been spending time aboard the Void Reaper, learning more about the ship and its mission. Nathan had shown him records of 17 different human timelines, each facing their own challenges. In Timeline 7, humanity became a peaceful trading civilization. Nathan explained as they walked through the ship's vast archives. They never had to face a major war, so when the Devourers found them, they were unprepared. What happened to them? They survived, but only because we intervened directly. Now they are safe but weak. They depend on us for protection and have never grown beyond their early technology. Nathan showed him another record. Timeline 12 chose differently. When faced with the Krell invasion, they asked for weapons instead of shields. They won their war but became conquerors themselves. We had to stop them from becoming the very thing they once fought against. Jake understood the lesson. Strength without wisdom leads to tyranny. Protection without struggle leads to weakness. Exactly. Your timeline is special because your people have always found the balance between strength and compassion. On the third day after the upgrades, Zephyrian scout ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. Long-range sensors detected the main fleet following behind them. Admiral Williams activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Williams. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the right of younger races to exist in this galaxy. The Zephyrians believe might makes right. We are going to prove them wrong. The Zephyrian fleet was massive, 300 warships arranged in perfect formation. Their lead vessel, the Dominion's Wrath, was twice the size of any human ship. But as the human fleet moved to meet them, something had changed. The upgraded shields shimmered with new energy, and the armor plating gleamed with materials that could withstand weapons that would have destroyed the old hulls. The Zephyrian commander, Supreme Admiral Kextar, opened a communication channel. Human vessels, you will surrender immediately or be destroyed. This is your only warning. Admiral Williams responded calmly. This is Admiral Williams of the Earth Defense Fleet. We reject your ultimatum. Leave our space or face the consequences. You cannot match our firepower, primitive creatures. Let us find out. The battle began with the Zephyrians firing everything they had at the human fleet. Massive energy beams and explosive missiles filled space with deadly light. But the human ships absorbed the attack with their new shields and responded with precise targeting. The difference was not overwhelming technology, but human innovation. While the Zephyrians used standard attack patterns, human captains improvised. They used asteroid fields for cover, coordinated attacks from multiple angles, and adapted their tactics as the battle progressed. Captain Sarah Kim of the destroyer New Tokyo found herself facing 3 Zephyrian cruisers. Instead of trying to match their firepower, she led them into the debris field of an old mining operation. Using the wreckage as cover, she picked off the enemy ships one by one. Commander Alex Murphy of the frigate Boston used his ship's new speed to conduct hit-and-run attacks, striking fast and disappearing before the enemy could respond. Throughout the fleet, human crews proved that courage and creativity could overcome superior numbers. The turning point came when Admiral Williams led a direct assault on the Dominion's Wrath. The massive Zephyrian flagship concentrated its fire on Earth's pride, but the improved shields held. When the human ship closed to close range, boarding parties led by Marines equipped with new armor captured key sections of the enemy vessel. Supreme Admiral Kextar found himself face to face with Admiral Williams in his own command center. How? He demanded. Your technology was inferior. Your numbers were smaller. Williams looked at the defeated alien commander with something like pity. Because we fight for our homes and our families. You fight only for conquest. The battle ended with the Zephyrian fleet in retreat. More than half their ships had been destroyed or captured, while human losses were minimal. In the aftermath, Jake Morrison received a message from Nathan aboard the Void Reaper. Well done. Your people have proven themselves worthy. What happens now? Jake asked during his next visit to the ancient ship. Now you take your place among the elder races of the galaxy, but more importantly, you become part of something larger. Nathan led him to a new chamber Jake had not seen before. It contained a communication array that connected to other realities. You are now our official representative in this timeline, Nathan explained. When threats arise that your people cannot handle alone, you will be our voice. When other versions of humanity need guidance, you will help provide it. Jake felt the weight of responsibility, but also a sense of completion. What about the Zephyrians? They have requested a peace treaty. The defeat of their fleet has convinced them that younger races deserve respect. They are offering to share their technology in exchange for forgiveness. Will Earth accept? That is for your leaders to decide. But I believe your people will choose wisely. They always have. As Jake prepared to return to Earth one final time, Nathan had a final message. Remember what you have learned here. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders and dangers, but humanity's greatest strength has never been superior weapons or unbreakable shields. What is it then? The ability to see enemies as potential friends, the courage to help those weaker than yourselves, and the wisdom to know when to fight and when to forgive. These qualities will serve your people well in the challenges ahead. Jake returned to Earth carrying the news that humanity was no longer alone in the universe. They were part of a family that spanned multiple realities, watched over by guardians who had once been human themselves. The Void Reaper remained in the solar system for one more week, a silent reminder of humanity's new status in the galaxy. Then, as quietly as it had arrived, it vanished into the dark between stars. But its message remained. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest or superior technology, but by proving that their greatest weapon had always been their humanity itself. In the years that followed, Earth became a beacon of hope for younger races across the galaxy. The Zephyrians, humbled by their defeat, became unlikely allies. And in the depths of space, the Void Reaper continued its mission, protecting other timelines where human courage and compassion were just beginning to bloom. Jake Morrison, now Admiral Morrison, kept the secret of the parallel timelines but carried their message forward. That in a galaxy full of wonders and terrors, the most powerful force was still the human heart.